maybe I can put this in a sort of sidelong way. I'm currently working on a book that's a history of the battles over gay marriage, and I certainly anticipated that when the Supreme Court ruled in the Obergefell case at the, I guess, end of June, that it would precipitate a far livelier backlash than we've seen, and that in a large Republican field we would have seen, at least a handful of candidates who would have seen a lot of advantage trying to make same-sex marriage and a reaction to the federal decision a place where they could sort of define themselves against opponents. And other than a couple of days when Kim Davis dominated the news and we saw Mike Huckabee and Ted Cruz and a couple of candidates very briefly. Yeah, I do, yeah. Scott Walker was somebody who for 24 hours supported a constitutional amendment that would have done this, would have responded to the Supreme Court decision, but he backed away pretty quickly, and so the death of that is an issue even more quickly than I anticipated. It's been a bit of a surprise.
I think one thing I'm surprised about as it relates to the Donald Trump phenomenon is how resistant he is to journalism or attacks from his opponents, or we haven't really seen that many negative advertisements run against him, but to any of the facts about his record, his past statements that contradict his self-styled conservatism. It is amazing to me that he has floated above at the top of the polls for 3 or 4 months now. As Republicans point out, that he used to be a Democrat. His Democratic sounding support for entitlements, things like that. And I think it speaks to an interesting phenomenon in politics. It's sort of interesting to see that happen in this race, and I don't know when it's going to end.
I'm not sure if any of us know when that's going to end. It's already gone far longer than anyone predicted. So I'm taken by Jeb Bush's struggles. Right? Here's a guy who came into this contest with every advantage that a candidate could have. Right? He raised $100 million in a very short amount of time. He was going to rewrite the way that modern politics is run, having a super PAC pick up a lot of the responsibilities of this campaign. And he has struggled incredibly, right? He was never going to have an easy path in this race. The primary calendar didn't really line up very, very nicely for him. If you look at Iowa, South Carolina, some of these early states in March. But I don't think any of us predicted that he would struggle as badly as he has. And so some of us today were down the street watching him kick off his Jeb Can Fix It tour, And the irony there is obvious, right? It's certainly not fixed yet.
It's in the shop.
He's working on it. But I think Jeb Bush, I don't think any of us would say that it's over for him. But certainly his path to his party's nomination has never been steeper or smaller.
Yeah. Just like in the debates, I'm going to ignore the question and offer something of my fast focus group. Surrounded by friends here. How many people in this room are going to go to the primary February of next year? Tonight, absolutely, emphatically, next February you're going to go to the polls and you're going to vote for Donald J. Trump to be the Republican nominee. Raise your hand. I got one back. It's almost like an auction, right? If I was auctioning off the Trump nomination, I wouldn't take any money tonight with all the Chamber of Commerce. One person. So I think that does tell us something, about the sort of nature of the party right now, and kind of who is for Trump, who is not for Trump. But I think it also speaks to exactly what's going on with this Trump phenomenon, that even some of the folks who are for him, that's Trump right there. I'm lying again. Even some of the folks who are for Trump don't want to admit it in this room. You know who you are. It's like there was the Bradley effect, not just the Trump effect. This is great fun. So, I will ask you a question now. I just had a very fast focus group. I have been astounded that in this era, after seeing what Barack Obama did, 4 years removed from the state Senate to become the Democratic nominee over the sort of gold standard name in Democratic politics, that no Democrats have run against Hillary Clinton for the President of the United States, one of the two major political parties in this country, and nobody ran. Nobody ran. Okay, Art O'Malley is running, and certainly two-term governor of a state, that counts. Where is everybody else? 74-year-old Bernie from Vermont, next door, we love the Green Mountain State. You guys, I know you guys are rivals, but Bernie Sanders has become the chief rival for the Democratic nomination against Hillary Clinton.
Do you think if the email story broke 4 months earlier, that would change? Or is there just nobody?
If it broke in, it was our paper, and it came out, what, March of 2015? Yeah, so if it came out 6 months before, sure, I think we'd have more folks run. But I just find it striking that one of the two major political parties that is not known to be a sort of top-down party, by the way, you've had so few candidates run for the nomination. And to me, again, coming back to what I was saying about Trump at the start, it tells us something more about what's happening on their side, too, and about the changes in their party.